The moment Yulong stepped into the quiet studio, something subtle but unmistakable shifted in the air. He entered without assistance, without a manager, without any sign of the polished machinery that usually surrounds a celebrity of his status. Instead, he came alone, moving with the careful heaviness of someone who had been carrying too much for too long. The light above the set cast a soft glow across his face, revealing tired eyes and a seriousness that suggested today was different, deeply, personally different. No one in the room spoke as he approached the chair. Even without grand gestures or dramatic tension, everyone could sense that what he was about to say mattered in a way his public statements never had before. When he finally sat, Yulong let out a long, controlled breath, the kind someone gives when they've decided to stop running from a truth. His fingers linked together, then tightened slightly, as if grounding himself. For a few seconds, he didn't look at the camera. He simply gathered himself. And then, he began. His voice was low, clear, but touched with something fragile. People think they know who I am. They think they know my relationship, my marriage, and especially young Mei Mei. There was no rush in his words, no attempt to dramatize. He spoke as someone finally choosing honesty over silence. He explained that since their engagement, he had watched Mei Mei endure pressures she never should have carried, pressures that came from being with him. At first, she tried to hide it, pretending that the noise didn't affect her. But as their wedding approached, he started noticing how her smile wavered whenever reporters twisted their stories, or how she tensed whenever the internet accused him of things that belonged only to the characters he portrayed on screen. According to Yulong, he once thought he understood the weight of fame, but after getting married, he realized how little he had seen compared to what Mei Mei saw, what she silently absorbed for him. She saw things I didn't even know were happening, he admitted. She protected me from stress I didn't realize she was carrying. She heard the insults first. She felt the attacks first. And she tried to shield me from all of it. He paused, swallowing hard before continuing. But the part that changed me the most was realizing she never blamed me for any of it. Yulong went on to reveal that he used to think the pressure he felt was overwhelming, harsh criticism, invasion of privacy, accusations based on rumors, people dragging his name into every possible scandal. But after marriage, he discovered that those were only the surface-level storms. What he never saw, until he lived with her, was the quiet suffering behind her composure. He recalled nights when Mei Mei comforted him after exhausting schedules, only for him to later realize she had been dealing with her own emotional exhaustion. She hid her fears to keep him steady. She hid her worries so he could rest. She carried burdens alone because she believed he already had too much on his shoulders. That's when I understood how strong she really is, and how much I had taken for granted. He admitted that before marriage, he thought he knew her well. He believed he understood everything she had gone through beside him, her patience, her loyalty, her calmness under pressure. But living together revealed a deeper truth. The moments he saw were only fragments, tiny pieces of a much larger, heavier reality she endured quietly in order to protect him and both families. He admitted that before marriage he thought he knew her well. He believed he understood everything she had gone through beside him, her patience, her loyalty, her calmness under pressure. But living together revealed a deeper truth. The moments he saw were only fragments, tiny pieces of a much larger, heavier reality she endured quietly in order to protect him and both families. He said she's warm, she's thoughtful, she's gentle, and none of the rumors about her, or about us, ever matched the person I see at home. Then came the part he had never said publicly before. Yulong confessed that the harshest rumors, those calling him a bad partner, irresponsible, unfaithful, or emotionally cold, affected Mei Mei far more painfully than they ever affected him. She never confronted him with fear or doubt. Instead, she worried that people's hatred toward him would spill onto their families. She feared that lies would shape how outsiders viewed their marriage. She told me once that she wasn't afraid of defending herself. She was afraid I would be hurt by things that weren't true. His voice tightened slightly, but he didn't look away. Seeing how much she cared, how much she tried to carry for me, that's when something inside me broke. Yulong leaned back slightly, steadying his breath. It took him a moment before he continued. There were days when I came home exhausted, frustrated, convinced I had nothing left to give. And every time, she was the one who grounded me. She was warm, even when she was tired. She was patient, even when I was irritable. She loved me in ways I didn't always feel I deserved. He explained that getting married didn't just change their relationship, it changed him completely. He had always imagined marriage as a partnership, but with Mei Mei, it became something deeper. A reminder that I wasn't alone, even on the days I felt like breaking. She never made me feel like a burden, even when I was. He described small but meaningful moments, her waiting up for me after long shoots, her quietly preparing things I needed without being asked, her leaving gentle notes when she sensed I was going through emotional strain. He talked about how she'd treated his parents with warmth, how she cared for his team, how she always made sure everyone around him was comfortable before thinking of herself. People have no idea how much she supports me, and I regret not telling the world sooner. Then, for the first time in the interview, a sharper edge entered Yulong's voice. Not anger, but a firm clarity that had clearly been restrained for too long. There's something else I need to say, something I've avoided because I didn't want to create more conflict. He looked straight into the camera, no hesitation this time. There are fans who crossed the line, those who attacked Mei Mei without knowing her, those who judged our relationship based on rumors or on the characters I portrayed on screen, those who believed the worst of us and spread it as if it were truth. His tone remained calm, but the disappointment beneath it was unmistakable. You hurt her, he said quietly, and you hurt us, more than you realize. He didn't raise his voice, didn't dramatize. It was the simplicity of the statement that made it sting. But then his expression softened. His shoulders eased slightly, and the warmth that people admired in him returned to the forefront. But there are also people, he said gently, who stayed, who trusted us when everything around us was loud and ugly. People who defended her, who defended us, even when it wasn't easy. I want to thank them, sincerely. He exhaled, the words carrying the weight of gratitude he had never expressed publicly. You didn't just support us. You kept us standing during the worst moments. And we won't forget that. With that, Yulong leaned back, letting the truth settle. Firm, honest, and long overdue.